The Agriculture Victoria Anthrax Early Notification System predicts the daily odds of a case of anthrax occurring in livestock in the next 30 days for each shire in Victoria. It presents these odds as a map of the state where red or high-risk shires represent odds of disease occurring in the coming month that are higher than a predetermined threshold value. These predictions are based on a statistically significant association found between historical disease events and a combination of particular weather patterns. These weather patterns include increasingly dry summer months, cooler than average spring, and a period of warmer than average mean minimum temperature for 30 days preceding a case. This statistical model is run each day for every shire based on weather station data downloaded daily from the Bureau of Meteorology. By left-clicking on a shire, the shire name and daily odds of disease can be displayed. Using the calendar function to select an earlier date, historical daily odds of disease are also presented, often with more complete weather patterns. Current weather station data is commonly incomplete, and there's often a lag before all data becomes available. Where weather station data is not available for the day, the shire has been shaded grey. Model output can also be viewed under the Model tab. Each line on this timeline represents the daily odds of disease for each shire. Above the timeline is a slider that allows us to increasingly load more model output. On a normal domestic bandwidth, there's a delay as large quantities of data are uploaded. We recommend that you leave this stationary unless required. Below the timeline is a second slider, which can allow us to explore the model outcome over the selected decade in more detail. If we look closely at these 10 years, we can see the peaks and troughs of model output as it predicts anthrax over the years. It's especially high back here in 2007, preceding the big outcut. The model output is based on meteorological events alone, and as such it does not account for our spatial understanding of the distribution of disease. So consequently, we've weighted the model output post hoc, using the frequency of historical outbreaks in the particular shire, and a contribution of that shire to the anthrax risk corridor proposed by Barrow and his colleagues. This can be seen in the separation of the model outcome here in the timeline, where shires that contribute to the lower band are outside of the corridor, and those here in the higher odds of disease are within the corridor. The odds ratios from this model output are seen in the map. Recently, for example, we've got an increased level of risk, and correspondingly, 6 shires exceed our risk threshold. This threshold is shown as a red dashed line sitting over the data. It's currently set at 2.6. If we go to our Settings tab, we can adjust our threshold. The threshold is an odds ratio and an output from the model. If we select another value, for 3 for example, this will just flag shires on days in which the odds of disease occurring in the next 30 days is 3 times greater than the odds of disease not occurring. If we return to our model page, we can see that we now only have 3 shires that exceed our risk threshold. And similarly, if we return to our map, we'll now only see the 3 shires that are of increased risk. We recommend an odds ratio of between 2.5 and 3 as a balance of sensitivity and specificity for the model. One further function under the setting allows us to view the model as a heat map or a chloropeth of the state. This is where a higher intensity of colour reflects the greater odds of disease occurring over the next 30 days, and best describes the gradient of risk across the state. However, it is less helpful for decision making. Again, using the calendar function at the bottom of the map here, we can go back and select 2007 and January, and a period just preceding the large 2007 outbreak, and we can see the greater risk and the greater odds displayed on the map. Now, this model, as with all good statistical models, is only as good as the data used to build it. The model was trained on disease and weather data that made it 86% accurate. This means our combination of weather patterns predicts current disease 86% of the time accurately. When applied to all shires for every day since 1964, accuracy is approximately 65%. So consequently, common sense is still required when interpreting the odds ratios in the map. As better data becomes available, we'll continue to improve this model. For those interested in the details of the model building process, variable selection and the design process used to build the system, please follow the links below this video and on the tutorial tab. And for further inquiries and for feedback, please take a moment to email Working Formula at the address provided on the map tab. We look forward to responding to your questions and your feedback. Thank you very much.